detoxification for 5 days. We also have a 10-day detoxification coming up in January. And the whole idea is to participate, to activate, to energize detoxification activity. How many people here have detoxified? So everyone should have put their hand up. That's my trick question. Because the body detoxifies all the time as needed. It's like our blood circulation. It happens. We don't have to think about blood circulation. It's just something that is part of our existence. Without it, we wouldn't survive. Similarly, without detoxification, we would not survive. There are times of the day when we detoxify differently. Most of our detoxification occurs at night, having a lot to do with our production of a release of melatonin, things of that nature. But every time we're exposed to toxins, like a large amount of toxicity, like what we experience in New York City, you walk outside and you inhale diesel fuel, your detoxification activity kicks into gear more dramatically. But even when a less dramatic activity is occurring, just your daily existence necessitates detoxification because we build our tissues on a regular basis, but we also have to get rid of the waste matter. So it's always Shiva Shakti happening. We stand up, we're killing sitting. We sit down, we're killing standing. But similarly, if we make bone, as we hopefully will do, if we make skin, if we make heart tissue, there's going to be leftover waste matter at a certain point in our existence to get rid of what was produced. The old matter has to be released. So that's detoxification, and that happens on a regular basis. The key is to make sure that it works well. The same way we want to make sure that we build bone effectively, we want to make sure that we detoxify effectively. The same way we want to make sure that our heart functions and we build heart tissue, we want to make sure that we detoxify the waste matter from heart building. So you see, it's on a regular basis that this occurs. So we don't really think about it. And if we eat well, and if we do our asana pranayama, we don't have to think about it nearly as much. If we live in a very pure environment, pristine environment, if we aren't inhaling fragrances, if we aren't using dish soap that's not clean and pure, if we're not eating foods that are toxified, and so many of our food now is, we have a new term called ultra-processing, ultra-processed food, which is basically what most food is nowadays that's produced in the industrialized world. It's ultra-processed with many chemicals. There's a very popular pastry now. It's called crumble. Have you heard of it? Is it in Europe as well as in the United States? Crumbl, crumble. And every Saturday I go to the Sivananda Center on 24th Street to give free mini nutrition consultations. And so as I'm going up the hill leading towards the street, there's a little crumble store on the left side. And there are lines of people outside waiting to get into crumble. Crumble is, if you look at it, pick up a crumble cake, it has 20 to 30 ingredients. And these are not natural ingredients. These are all synthetic ingredients, often to stimulate your desire to want to eat more crumble. So these are the type of things that people consume without thinking about sometimes the deleterious impact. And these things have to be detoxified out of the body. I was on my way over to, I was being taken by the cab to the ashram yesterday, and dear woman, obviously she's not aware of it, but this, what you have in many cars are fragrances. It's fragrance sticks or the Christmas trees that are hanging, they're emitting fragrances. These fragrances are carcinogenic. They cause cancer. They will end up in her breast tissue, unfortunately. They will end up in prostate tissue for males because these hormonal tissues are very sensitive to environmental factors. These are called endocrine disruptors. And to the degree that we can detoxify these things effectively, we prevent or lessen the likelihood of cancer. But when we can't, either because we have some genetic defects in our detoxification capability, or we are not eating foods that are feeding the detoxification process, then we are more likely to develop cancer. My guru would say that we should be easeful, peaceful, and useful. Easeful body, peaceful mind, useful life. If the body is easefully taking care of this detoxification activity, then we will have a peaceful, easeful life and live longer, hopefully. Now, of course, oftentimes we talk about life expectation or how long we will live, longevity, and we know from yoga that our length of time here on this planet is due to our prarabdha. We're not going to change that dramatically by what we eat. However, we can change how we live, how we experience this life, how serviceful we can be to others and to the planet by a healthy body. So you want to make sure that you're detoxifying effectively and regularly. And when you do that, you will feel stronger and more effective. You're less likely to get colds and flu. When you have a cold or flu, what's happening then is the virus is being excreted. It's being detoxified from the body. And so that's okay. If it's short-lived and, you're getting the virus out, and oftentimes we want to suppress things and so that we don't experience discomfort. But a little cold, a little flu, sometimes might be okay if it's little. And oftentimes, if you really, as we begin to tune into our body, we can feel it coming on. We feel something's happening. You take a little echinacea, perhaps, and you help to easily get the viral entity out. So you don't want to suppress it. You want to help to get it out. So there are different levels and degrees of detoxification. There are the ones that are more dramatic, such as when you're getting mucus out and things of that nature. There are subtle things that are happening that you're not even aware of. The big things that come out, or in ways that we notice, so it's called phase 3 detoxification. That's when heavy or solid waste matter is being relieved. If we're urinating, if we're defecating, if we're releasing mucus, that's phase 3. But it starts with phase 1 and phase 2. They have to be balanced. This is happening, again, on a level that we don't discern. It's when you're getting rid of old matter and old tissue and getting them out of the body. Things that you've consumed, you've digested, need to be taken out of the body from the cell, every single cell, bone cell, heart cell, skin cells, all of these cells detoxify various material, both the old waste matter that needs to be relieved, as well as any toxins you've come in contact with throughout your day. And again, we have more and more of those now in the industrialized world. We produce a lot in the industrialized world. And there's a price to pay for that. There's an exchange, if you will, or production, dramatic amount of industrial production. And so we have to be able to handle this. We have to be able to adapt and adjust and accommodate the experiences that we're having. One of them is electromagnetic toxicity. We have an incredible amount of that now that we're exposed to. Where does it come from? Just name one source. Exactly. All right? So cell phones we have become extremely dependent upon cell phones. I mean, people go to the bathroom with their cell phone. They go to satsang with their cell phone. And in some instances, your cell phone might be necessary. If you have family, you have business, you have to be aware of with your cell phone. But oftentimes, it's due to a neurological, a neurochemical, a dopamine-dependent addiction to the phone, both visually and the electromagnetic energy is releasing to us into our bodies on a regular basis. We need to be able to detoxify that as well. Fortunately, research has shown things like green tea extract can detoxify EMF. The turmeric concentrate can detoxify EMF. Going to the beach and getting negative ions can detoxify EMF. And of course, reducing your exposure to it by not using what you don't need to use is another way of preventing toxicity from EMF. There's a book called 5G, written by Dr. McCullough, and he talks about a lot of the nutrients, the herbs, and that can be used to protect us from EMF, and he also talks about EMF in general and how prevalent it is, and Wi-Fi's and all the factors that we again have become really accustomed to. The human body, or humans in general, are amazing. Our ability to adapt is incredible, but there's a downside to that. We adapt sometimes to the point where we aren't aware of the toxins that are around us, and we just kind of keep going, and we think everything is fine. So tuning in, using your yoga senses to tune in to things that are problematic, and of course do research, and then take some time, as we're going to do in these next 5 days, starting on Saturday, of doing a focused, active detoxification. Even though we do detoxify, we want to sometimes take a time to enhance it. Okay? We walk and move around, but if we do asana, we enhance our walking and moving around. So with this particular program, it's kind of like a detoxification asana practice. We're actually focusing on the specific nutrients that work in a specific way to clear toxins out of the body. And something that I and other functional medicine practitioners recommend is that you at least have one day a week where you really focus in on detoxification. Yoga oftentimes is a day of fasting, or at least a day of detoxifying. Or if you go deeper, you can have 5 days of fasting, and go deeper into getting some of these toxins out. And oftentimes people say they feel rejuvenated and feel wonderful afterwards. So hopefully this is what we'll experience starting this Saturday. So we have 1 day of raw foods, 3 days of juices and broth and herbal tea, and then 1 day to go back to eating again, but gently we go back into eating raw foods. All of these steps activate detoxification in different ways. Any questions? How many people have fasted? Actually done a fast? Yes. Did you do it here, or did you go someplace else? Do you do it at home? How do you fast? Yes.
I actually did a fast at the Valmoran Ashram,
Mm-hmm.
like this one,
Right.
like I think a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. How was that?
It was good. I felt great afterwards. It was hard,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt really good afterwards.
How many days did you do?
It was 5 days too.
5 days.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And was it water or juice?
Was it sorry?
Water or juice?
It was juice and teas.
Great.
Yeah, and raw food.
Wonderful. That's an excellent, gentle way of doing it. Years ago, water fasting was more popular. We didn't know as much about our physiology. Clearly, we weren't as toxic as we are now. So I started out doing this water fast by reading books by Arnold Arrett and Paul Bragg, and these natural hygienists who were promoting fasting. And some of them had fasting clinics in different parts of the world. And so you try to do a water fast, and it was really challenging because it's not easy to do a water fast. You don't have anything that's going to help to activate detoxification activity. I mean, water to some degree will do that, but something like juice and herbs, as you were doing, as we'll be doing, goes deeper in its ability to detoxify. Particularly, there are certain nutrients that are specific to the aid detoxification, and herbs like turmeric and milk thistle. These will help a lot. If you're not really toxic, or you're in a fairly pristine environment, water fasting and you're healthy, water fasting can be done, but I recommend only for a short period of time. For most of us, I think juice and herbs will be better and easier. Hmm? Okay. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank
Good
you.
morning.
I wanted to ask about the Ayurvedic perspective about fasting and ritualcharya, the combination of fasting with the seasons, because right now we are in fall, so more vata around us, and fasting definitely is also vata aggravating. And raw foods. So, what is the perspective from the fasting point of view? And are there like certain seasons or times which are more beneficial to fasting, or is the fast changing according to the seasons in order to facilitate pacifying the doshas?
Good question. When I developed the program, I wanted to develop a program that was trans-dosha, something that it would work on various dosha types, with various dosha types, and also trans-seasonal. So this is why I utilize certain things like we have the broth, because it helps to ground and reduce vata. We have chlorella, which is a blue-green algae that has nutrients, particularly protein, that helps to ground and detoxify, and it can be used during winter, summer, spring, or fall. So yes, we did consider that. I have quite a few supplemental first aid substances that I've learned after doing this for many years tend to come up, like when you, as I mentioned earlier, when you have a cold, basically what's happening is the virus is coming out. And when you do a detox, sometimes people experience a cold viral symptom because the virus is coming out more significantly or dramatically because you're activating detoxification. So I make sure I we have on hand things like olive leaf extract. Olive leaf extract is an excellent antiviral and antibacterial herb. And when you extract it, it's more concentrated. So in order to deal with that, what might for some people be a dramatic vata experience, we have things like herbs like olive leaf extract to help to deal with those types of situations. So we've developed a protocol that is adaptive to various experiences I've seen people go through when they're doing a detox, because everyone, we are biochemically and dosha individual. Biochemically, we all have different, our karma, our prarabdha has given us different detoxification, different systems, basically, and detoxification systems as well. There's different height and different weights and different tendencies. All of those things many of these things are prarabdha. But also our detoxification capability is part of prarabdha. And some people are incredible detoxifiers. You can blow smoke in their face all day long, and they'll handle it because they detoxify very efficiently. That's dramatic, Michael Jordan-esque detoxification activity. You hear people talk about, well, I have a grandfather. He smoked 6 packs of cigarettes a day, and he lived to 95. Well, don't you try that. In fact, don't anybody try that. But clearly, he was an incredible detoxifier. And people, because of different doshas, also when they come to us, some people come to us, people are vata, some people are kapha. They're going to experience this differently. So I I try to develop a program that would adapt to that, different things that we can utilize to adapt to what they're bringing to us. Because if a person is very Vata and we're in Vata season, we don't want to over aggravate that. We want to make sure we can ground this. So this is where things like chlorella and if we could also use spirulina and the broths and the different herbs we have, like we have ginger herb available that the students themselves can take throughout the entire time. We have milk thistle that you can also, it's a seed, it has a grounding effect. You can drink some milk thistle seed tea, and that will also help. So there are different ways in which we try to make it as adaptive as possible. Yeah. Yes.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Can you speak a little bit about the toxic effects of aerosol sunscreens that are so popular, and also aerosol mosquito repellents, and give some alternatives?
A great question. Yeah, the did recent study looking at our experience with suntan lotion and sunscreens and skin cancer. Skin cancer essentially didn't become prevalent or a thing, if you will, until the 40s, at the point when we started using sunscreen. So sunscreen has a dual problem challenge. It most of them, unless you get a natural one, and there are some natural ones available, will give you parabens and phthalates, and what we put on our skin gets absorbed invariably into our bloodstream. There's a guy named Aubrey Organics, or Aubrey, I should say, who developed a line of body care products, and he was talking about the fact that what we put on our skin gets into our blood. Our skin is very transdermal, as they call it, and now we recognize even in allopathic medicine, they'll give you nicotine patches or various hormonal creams because you get better absorption for certain substances transdermally than you do orally. So using a toxic carcinogenic substance or substances that are contained in sunscreen has contributed to some of the skin cancer, believe it or not. And the other factor is that it blocks the absorption of what? Or the production of, right, vitamin D, right? We got the ultraviolet light, it goes to the skin, goes to the liver, and D is produced in our liver and disseminated throughout the entire body. So, and D is a multifactorial nutrient in protecting us, building us, and in some cases preventing certain cancers. So the sunscreens have actually been a contributing factor, unfortunately, to this. We don't need to block Mother Nature's sun in the extreme way that we tend to do. We need to be cognizant of some of our limitations. If you have a very fair skin, you'll tend to burn more readily. But you just want to get sun exposure modestly. Drink things like green tea, which protects you from, particularly if you take a green tea extract, protects you from photooxidation or skin cancer or skin burning. And these are some of the ways in which we can do this effectively without having to use a sunscreen. Now, if you feel that you need to use one, there are some companies that are tested and they're paraben, phthalate free, preservative free, and you can use those in lieu of the other companies. There was another question you had too.
Spray mosquito repellent, because I personally find that they give me a migraine with fragrance.
Yeah, because fragrances are very can be very toxic and even carcinogenic. As I mentioned, the fragrance that is in cars, but the things we spray in our environment can be highly toxic. So for all fragrances should be phthalate, paraben-free, know what are called endocrine disruptors. These things help go to our hormone system and can disrupt it, alter it, and cause havoc. So there are some natural mosquito repellents that you could use. So if you go on Amazon, you can see that I can give you some names if you want afterwards, and show you some different companies.
Oh, Manu, we have a couple of questions online.
Okay.
The first is, what about detoxification of the mind? I mean, we digest not only food, but all our experiences in life. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Yes, one of the benefits of doing a detoxification retreat here or in an ashram is that you get the opportunity to relieve the mind of toxicity. Getting up in the morning and doing pranayam and doing mantra, doing kirtan. These are, as you know, that's why you're here. These are methods in which to relieve your mind of the toxins that we accumulate by living in environments and not adapting well to where we're living. Recognizing that this is a dramatic karmic event that we're experiencing, and yoga teaches us to adapt to that and purify the mind actually with meditation, with deep relaxation, etc.
We also have another question from Ryan. He asking if it's okay to put oil on your body in the winter months, and any suggestions for help with dry skin and the practice of putting oil on the skin.
Oh, oleation is really important. It varies, or the need for it varies depending on temperature, climate, season. As we were talking about Vata earlier, if you're during the Vata season, which is the transition season from fall to winter, or from winter to spring, there are periods when it can be quite Vata, or periods where it can be dry, and during that time you want to make sure that you are oleating. If you are a Vata person, you tend to be dry. Oleation internally and externally is important. In fact, it's important for all of us, but some people need it even more so. So there's different oils. Probably in the boutique we have Vata oils for Vata types. We have Kapha oils. There are Pitta oils for different types of dosha, but oleation is really key, particularly for Vata season. And internally as well, we recommend eating nuts and seeds, or even taking various oils internally to help to hydrate, oily from within, like flaxseed oil, particularly for women, hemp seed oil for both men and women. We know that fish oil, poor fish, we've attacked them unfortunately, contain EPA, DHA, but we found, my guru would say that, when scientists so-called discover something, basically they're uncovering various phenomena that have been existing for years, we just uncover them. Fortunately, they've uncovered a way to create EPA, DHA in a lab, in a capsule, in the same way the fish make it. And so if you need that EPA, DHA, we don't have to eat the poor fish. We actually have vegan sources of EPA, DHA oil capsules that you can take to oleate from within. It's great for the brain. Our brain is made up of principally of fat, 70% fat, 70% DHA fat specifically. So we want to oleate externally and internally. Yes.
A very interesting subject. Something I'm very interested in is regenerative and sort of organic farming, and there's a huge problem in the world right now, especially actually in vegetarian food, that most of it's covered with glyphosate, which contributes to like cataclysmic decline in male fertility. And I was just wondering, how do we navigate those things? And because like it's actually very difficult to purchase things that are not covered in pesticides. Even if you don't want to, like it's a necessity, because like the industrial farming, the way it's done is just like it's completely set up for these fertilizing companies. So I'm just wondering what you thought about that.
Yeah, glyphosate is one of the issues that we have now. It is so prevalent, particularly with certain crops like corn. Corn is loaded with glyphosate. Right? And lentils. And lentils. So I believe all our food should be organic. At every ashram, in everyone's home, we should have only organic food. And it's more expensive. Sometimes in environments where there's not a lot of farming, you have to get it from offshore. And nevertheless, it's something that we should focus on, I believe, to help our survival and function. So, and even with the organic farms, because the pesticides from the large industrialized farms that are sometimes in close proximity, we cannot blow into the organic farms. The birds and bees don't discern whether something is organic or not, and they will pollinate substances from pesticide-laden farms to natural organic farms. So we have some challenges as far as that's concerned. Because of that, we have to make a concerted effort, I believe, to use only organic, use only biodegradable and products that are not toxic externally. But because we can't avoid everything, because we are on a small planet, relatively speaking, this is where detoxification comes into play. You're able to help get rid of what you can't avoid, as well as the other things that we talked about that are just natural byproducts of our living. But if we are detoxifying regularly, at least once a week, in fact, actually, at least every day, the vegan food, the vegetarian food tends to be more detoxifying just by its very nature. If you're eating those things on a regular basis, you're activating and supporting detoxification, which is needed now more than ever before. So broccoli, as an example, Brussels sprouts, major detoxifiers. So eating those foods will detoxify you. But recognizing, yes, that things like glyphosate, we always hear that the ideal retail location is living in a house that's near a golf course. Because, if it's nice and green, it's beautiful, those places are loaded with glyphosate to keep that green. And it detoxifies the entire environment. And as you were mentioning, it is suppressing testosterone production. It is right now, or the male detoxification, or the male testosterone level is about 26% lower than it was in the 80s. They've done some research and shown that with substances like glyphosate and there are a few others, when they find them in bodies of water, they actually will suppress the male frog's production of testosterone to the point where it can actually cause the animal to turn into a female.
It's something that, if it carries on the trend we're going on, will be extinct within about 200 years.
Yeah, this is an estimation. Of course, we don't, but it makes sense. Clearly that we will, because you have to have male and females in order to have human production. So yes, we're seeing it. I'm hearing it. I'm hearing male voices get higher and higher, depending on the age, which is, your voice is somewhat a reflection of your hormone levels in terms of deep voices. But I listen to the radio and I hear men with really high-pitched voices more so than ever before. So clearly, the testosterone levels are declining, and this is a result. It is one of the results of a environment that's loaded with feminizing pesticides. Your time? Okay. I think we have to conclude. But am I doing another talk this afternoon as well? Okay. So at 2:30, we'll be here, and you can come by and talk more about this dramatic, challenging, and interesting topic. Thank you all for listening. Om Shanti.
So So I'd like to thank again very much Manu Dawson for this beautiful and very insightful teaching. Let's give him another big hand. And as Manu mentioned, he will be offering a workshop here at 2:30, and then we'll be starting the 5-day juice fasting detoxification program on Saturday. And any of the guests who are here at the ashram and would like to join, you're welcome to register at the reception, and that starts on Saturday. So now we go over the schedule for the rest of the day. For the students of the ATTC, you'll have your 7:45